A former WWE star could be on their way to AEW. AEW also just re-signed another talent, and that name is actually very intriguing. WWE is planning to go head-to-head with World's End, but the reason why is actually kind of concerning, and we need to talk about it. And if you guys want more videos like this, don't forget to click that subscribe button. This way you never miss a video on the channel. I'm going to keep you guys updated along the way. Let's kick things off with John Cena. As you guys know, John Cena's last match was reportedly rumored to begin at December 17th, or on December 17th, I should say. And that was going to be his last match, potentially a Saturday night's main event. The idea was WWE was going to do a huge tribute show. WWE was going to do a whole bunch of stuff for John Cena, and it was going to be this big ordeal. Now, AEW recently revealed World's End will be taking place in Chicago at the Now Arena on December 30th, and now rumors have come out and it's circulating that WWE is thinking about changing their plans for John Cena's last match to go head-to-head with AEW. Now, everybody's offering takes on this, and I'm actually one of the guys who have been very consistent for years that WWE and AEW pay-per-views clashing head-to-head is actually a good idea. I believe it forces both companies to deliver really good pay-per-views, and they both try a little bit harder, which thankfully, when it does happen, that's typically what happens. So I've always been in favor of that. But one of the things I'm noticing a lot that's not being said in a lot of these takes is that nobody really seems to factor in John Cena right now, which is crazy because the last match for John Cena is such a big ordeal. And people need to understand, whether they want to admit this or not, but WWE having John Cena's last match go head-to-head with AEW is problematic for a variety of reasons. For AEW, it does hurt them. The truth is, it does hurt AEW. I think everybody knows that John Cena at this point is larger than the WWE. He has a huge mainstream success outside of WWE, and because of that, him being, on pay-per-view in December, it is definitely going to be one of those things where like at this stage of the game, people will tune in, right? But the other thing that nobody seems to be talking about is how John Cena actually feels about this. We don't know how John Cena feels about this. And if I were John Cena, I don't know how I feel about being used as a way to compete with AEW when the attention should be on John Cena. Because, yes, more people will be talking about John Cena and his retirement, but it doesn't change the fact that there will be people still watching AEW. And I don't know, I just feel like it's kind of a crummy, scummy, stupid business move. I understand why WWE would do it. I understand WWE's mindset behind it, and I get it. But this is one of the times where I don't respect it because the attention and focus should be on John Cena. And the fact that part of it isn't, I think, is kind of insincere. And that's the issue. And that's kind of the problem that I have with everything here. It's like, man, you guys are going to honor John Cena, but at this point, it doesn't feel like you're going to do it in the most sincere way, which is so crummy. That brings us to our next topic. Ladies and gentlemen, another AEW star has re-signed with the company, and we got to talk about the details. This is very intriguing, very chaotic, too, in a way, because Kota Ibushi has re-signed with the company, and we're going to talk about the contract details in just a second, but he made an emotional Instagram post talking about this, and I think it's really important to mention this, because Kota Ibushi at one point in time almost came to WWE. We thought he was going to come to WWE. And I think the general consensus is that at some point we were all kind of worried about how he would be perceived in America. How would WWE book him? And then it was crazy because when he came to AEW, there was a lot of excitement about that, right? Of course, there's a lot of excitement. You could literally not discredit Kota Ibushi and his career and everything that he's done and all of these amazing things that we have seen time and time again. But unfortunately in AEW, Kota Ibushi has never really been able to reach his full potential. Now, this part is probably the most important because I think sometimes people want to just blame Tony Khan and blame AEW or blame WWE for why things don't work out. But there are just certain talents who come to America and it just doesn't pan out. Hideo Itami was a perfect example. When Kenta came to WWE, yeah, solid talent, but it's just different systems, different way of life. People don't always naturally just figure it out, And so what was crazy about the Kota Ibushi situation more specifically was injuries were a big problem. They were a very big problem for Kota Ibushi. And then you have travel issues and things of that nature, and then visa issues and whatever it may be. It has literally gotten to a point where Kota Ibushi's issues with AEW, really, you can't blame anybody. But I do understand the sentiment that he has not been reaching his full potential under the AEW umbrella. I also don't think he would have in WWE. Honestly, I don't think there would have been a North American company that could have really taken Kota Ibushi and pushed him to the top and do all these things. So for Kota Ibushi to re-sign with AEW for 2 years is amazing, and I'm very excited about that. But he also made it very clear he doesn't expect to wrestle past 45 years old. And that part is a little sad. That part is a little bit more of like, damn, like Kota Ibushi's time is not going to be much longer as a professional wrestler, which really sucks considering I'm a big fan of his work. So now we're literally at a stage where with Kota Ibushi signing this 2-year contract, I'm excited to see if AEW can specifically do something to just kind of turn the tide on his career, which would be very ideal. It would be very fun to see Kota Ibushi maybe become TNT champion, maybe become unified champion, or something, right? Maybe we could do some tag team stuff with him and Kenny Omega, right? Like there's a lot of things that would be nice to see in the final 2-year contract that he has, but we don't really know what to expect with this new deal. And obviously as a Kota Ibushi fan, I could only look forward to so much, but really I don't know what to expect here. And that brings us to our final topic, ladies and gentlemen. AEW signing Shayna Baszler. Is this a possibility? Well, it is a big possibility, and it kind of sounds like Shayna Baszler is telling us without actually telling us that she's going to AEW. She was on Ariel Helwani's show. She was asked about this, and she is not shutting it down. She also made it very clear she's got a lot of friends there, and she's also made it clear that there's more things to come, and there's definitely been conversations. And it just sounds like at this point, AEW and Shayna Baszler probably is a lock. Now, at this time, there is no 1,000% confirmation that a deal has been signed or anything of that nature, but it definitely sounds like this is the way that we're going. And I got to be honest with you guys, I do have to just throw this out there. I 100% love the idea of Shayna Baszler going to AEW. She is not weird about her WWE exit. She is not being anti-WWE. She's not being anything of that nature. She's actually, she's grateful for her time in WWE. She didn't really have a bad run. She kind of enjoyed her job there. And, the thing is, she just really loves professional wrestling. And as long as she could do professional wrestling, she's going to do it. So what's really cool about Shayna Baszler is like the WWE system reflects so heavily on the wrestling personality aspect of things. For Shayna Baszler being in AEW, she could focus on what she's actually good at, which is the wrestling aspect. And I'm not saying this to throw shade, but Shayna Baszler has always been more of a unique wrestler than a unique character. And that's okay, because in professional wrestling, you do need that, even in WWE. It's just up to WWE to figure out a way to book correctly and stuff of that nature. But of course, with her being friends with Marina Shafir, keep in mind Ronda Rousey at one point worked for Tony Khan for Ring of Honor. Like, she's very well knowledged on how AEW does things. Now, do you put, especially with the rumor that there's going to be women's tag team championship belts, do you put Marina Shafir and Shayna Baszler in the tag team division? I think that's very likely. I think that is a very big possibility. And what's really cool about that, in my opinion, is the fact that I think it would work out very much in her favor. She could go in there, be a great tag team wrestler with Marina Shafir. And at that point, we could kind of break away from the Death Rider stuff. Maybe they keep the Death Rider stuff going. I don't know. But I do look forward to seeing what happens. Listen, this is one of those things. She's not going to come in, become world champion. Like, I don't expect that. But to be another great talent joining the women's roster that's already starting to improve so much, I think it's a very, very big win for AEW.